Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Authentic Info Podcast. I'm your host, Admire Sandejao. Maimane feels like it was used as a DA experiment or project to win black people, even though DA does not support or does not want to help or assist black people. He says that in an interview with Penuel the Black Pen, which is one of his recent interviews, where he was asked whether he thinks DA is racist, whether he thinks DA is pro-black, and the things that he fought for that we did not see while he was a DA leader. So he spoke a lot about the things that are happening in the DA internally and exposed the DA for what it is. And he also gave the reasons why he left the DA. I've always said that the DA is not a political home for black people. Although there are some clever blacks who disagreed with me, there are a lot of black people who are very proud of the DA and they have their own reasons. But a lot of leaders from the DA, those who shined in the DA and those who are black, whenever they speak about the DA, you can sense that this political party is not meant for black people. There's no room for black people to shine in the DA as leaders. And if there's no room for black people to shine in the DA as leaders, there can't be any reason that convinces me that the DA is here in South Africa to help black people. And most of these blacks who support the DA are those who think they've made it in life. And I am not jealous of the success of black people, but most of them, they are professionals who later they come to realize that they were used to give the DA power to continue to oppress black people. The DA has been leading in the Western Cape for quite some time, I think over 2 decades now. And they are colored, it is the colored community and other black people, who will tell you another story that the DA is not selling in South Africa. And a lot of those who have not heard these stories will think DA is the best alternative because of Cape Town. And that is not the case. And we'll also realize that where DA governs outside the Western Cape, these are areas or places where there's a mixture of black and white people, and mostly in the suburbs. And when you check the suburbs, the way the suburbs were set up, most of them or consist of people who are well off, people who are rich, people who have made it in life. And most of the services they render to themselves. Most of the services do not come from government. For example, in a suburb, you will see private security. You will hardly see a police vehicle entering a suburb. It's rare. You will see private vehicle of private security, a company that is owned by white people, heavily armed, who are securing that area. And then when you check, the council of that area is of DA. So you will think that where there is the DA, things are well run. No. In most areas where the DA governs, these are areas that are well set up by individuals themselves. And then some black people will go there and think that since the DA is in charge of this ward, it must continue. Everything is well taken off. Only to find out that not even the sewage system is treated by government. Everything is private. Everything is paid for. And then the DA will be proud of such areas and even mention them. And when you go and check them, you will find out that they are successful areas, peace, everything is well, everything is in order. Because these are areas where people, are managing themselves, are governing themselves. They are in autopilot. So in areas where you will see that the DA doesn't care about black people, it's, for example, in Johannesburg, in Ekurhuleni, in Tshwane, because majority, it's black people. So, for example, in Johannesburg, Herman Mashaba only led the DA as a councillor, I think for 3 years. And he was ousted, or he was left with no option but to leave or resign. So Herman Mashaba was accused of taking instructions from the EFF. And when he says in his interviews, he tells us that the EFF has never approached him for a tender. It is only the bullies from the DA who approached him for tenders. So which means even in the DA, there are people who are like the ANC mafias, who want tenders, who don't want to bid, who don't want to qualify, but they want it because they know the mayor, or the mayor is from their political party, and they've been eating just like that. So the DA is no perfectionist. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. And when they accuse Mashaba of being an EFF mayor, it's because he was working for black people, and most of the policies that he was implementing were coming from the side of the EFF, but they were benefiting black people. For example, in sourcing, it has benefited a lot of security guards and things like that, who got permanent jobs. From the municipality, from the metro. So they don't want that. They don't want that. And as soon as a black person starts to shine in the DA, the person is isolated and left with no other option but to leave. So Mmusi Maimane, when he was asked by Penuel, he stated that somehow he feels like he was a project to try and convince black people to vote for the DA. Not to be part of the DA, but to vote for the DA, until he saw the DA for what it is. And he realized that no, this is not a political home for a black person. And a lot of people followed after that. It is not only him. A lot of people followed after. Recently we saw Mpopalat. She did not try and tarnish the image of the party, because she said she is now going to focus on her career as a professional doctor in general practice. And she is not resigning as member, but as councillor to go and focus on her career. What does this mean? It means she was no longer busy. She was isolated. She was not given any job. She was being a useless member, and she realized that she's wasting her time. Why did they get rid of her? It's because she's black. Nothing else. They want a white face. Even Maimane spoke about this to say there are white people within the DA who don't agree with just a black face. They don't care whether the ideas make sense or they're going to benefit the party. For as long as you are black, they won't agree with you. So that is the type of party that the DA is, and that Maimane has exposed it to be. You can't disagree with him, because he doesn't speak bad about it. He just speaks the truth about it. And this is what he saw as a DA leader, not as a member, not as a councillor, as a member of parliament, as a president of the DA. That is what he saw. And saying that the person who's controlling is Helen Zille. She is the actual leader, and everyone takes instructions from her. That is what Mmusi Maimane said. And saying that he was inside and he challenged the constitution of the DA, saying that there were a lot of things that had to be changed, that he challenged when he was inside. And unfortunately, a lot of white people did not agree with Maimane. And he said that he couldn't continue to be a leader in a party that doesn't benefit his people. So the DA used him as an experiment, and they nearly won Gauteng. And I believe they won Gauteng. It's just that the ANC has its own way of stealing votes. I'm 100% sure that in 2014, the DA won Gauteng. They were robbed. I'm sure they won Gauteng, but they were robbed. So the project worked very well. They worked very well. It's just that they turned a blind eye on the electoral system, on the IEC. Other than that, they should have won Gauteng. So the DA, according to Mmusi Maimane, it's not a political party that is set up in South Africa to benefit a black child, whether as a leader who grew up within the ranks of the DA or as a person who stands to benefit from a political party of choice. The DA is not the one for black people. That is according to Mmusi Maimane. And there's no way that we can disagree with him until someone who served in that level can come and put it otherwise. But there was a DA project that agrees that he has come to the senses, because when he wanted to challenge the police, they showed him who they really are. They showed him their true colors. And he realized that this political party is not a political home for black people. And it is not there to benefit black people or work for black people. So even in the Western Cape, there are colored people, black people, who are suffering in the Western Cape, who are not benefiting whatsoever under the provincial leadership of the DA. We saw this with Patricia de Lille. What happened? So it's not only Mmusi Maimane. Where is Phumzile van Dam today? Where is Lindiwe Mazibuko today? These are black young leaders who were promising, who were going to lead DA. And they saw that they cannot have a lot of them because they would influence policy. And the strategy in the DA is that they isolate you. You feel alone. You are isolated. And you are left with no other option but to resign. And you are seen as someone who is wrong in the eyes of the public. But fortunately, these days is that we have alternative ways to listen to the stories of these people, uncensored and unscripted. So in YouTube, when YouTubers afford these leaders an opportunity to speak about, or give their side of the story, it is where we get to hear everything, because they are not limited in terms of time and language. They can speak their mind and tell us their story. So Mmusi Maimane went to open his own political party, Build One South Africa. And I think it's doing good. He says that their mission is 2 million members. 2 million votes in 2024. And he wants to be on the top 4. Because he says the ANC is declining, the DA is declining, even the AFF, according to him, is declining. So they stand a chance to be in the top 4 come 2024. But the problem is that there are a lot of political parties, opposition parties in South Africa. Everyone who is expelled, everyone who decide to resign as a senior leader of a particular political party, they go and open their own spaza shop, some sort of spaza shop arrangement, their own political party, and they live with their people, understand their supporters where they come from, and they go and form these political parties. We saw Areta, if I'm not mistaken, by Kalneha, something I'm going to come, which was formed sometime late last year because it was expelled, and then I think was disgruntled, and he went to open his political party. Esma Khashules opened his political party. Herman Mashawez his own political party. A lot of these leaders who come from these top 4 political parties, have top 2, have opened their own political parties, and I think it's being reckless, and it exposes them to be people who are very ambitious and don't want to lead under other leaders. I think it would be very competitive and productive for South Africa to have at least 4 political parties or 5. I think these guys should have formed part. At least if you are fired from the DA, go to the ANC, go to the EFF, go to UDM, go to IFP, and they get to engage and have a very strong dialogue. But it seems like that is not the case. They don't want that. Everyone wants to be their own boss. Everyone wants to be a leader, and no one wants to serve under another person. So BOSA or BOSA, which is a political party founded by Mmusi Maimane, is going to contest elections in 2024. And he strongly believes that they will get 2 million votes and they will be number 3 or form part of the top 4. political parties, and he believes that in 2024 he's going to parliament. He's going to parliament. So at least he has come out to give us his side of the story, to tell us what he saw in the DA, to tell us what he fought for in the DA. And I've always said that this political party is not meant for black people. But I'm surprised by the black people who support the DA and who are part of its leadership. I'm surprised. And another problem is that in politics, there are a lot of opportunists. Majority these days are in politics because of opportunities that comes with being in politics or being a political leader or having a position in politics, because they know tenders, kickbacks, and things like that, influence, being untouchable by law enforcement and things like that. These are the packages that comes, with politics in South Africa. So they run there just for protection, blue lights, fame, tenders, kickbacks, and things like that. Not necessarily to serve the people. They don't go there to render services to the people, because I don't think that if there was no money in government, they say if you want to be a politician or a leader or a member of parliament, you don't get paid. I don't think a lot of them will be there or even consider to be a politician. But these are just my views. Maimane has exposed the DA for what it is. And I think now that we have heard from his mouth, until we hear someone from the DA who come and dispute whatever Maimane said in that interview, we have to believe what he says. We have to believe what he says, because he was a leader. He was there. He says that he has challenged the policy that he thinks it's anti-black, and the DA showed him their true colors, and was left with no other option but to leave. So this is Authentic Info Podcast. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's grow together. Comment in the comment section. I answer all the comments, and we engage. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. Thank you for watching.